Guys, I'm gonna be honest. Something happened this morning that was really genuine, and really special. So genuine, and it was just such an honest moment. Like, so genuine that it reignited a spark in me, which I thought was not going to be reignited for ages, for years perhaps. This was a spark that I had at the start of playing top drives, like back in 2017, 2018, when obviously I was a lot younger at the time. I was still in high school when I started playing this game. I was like 17 years old. And yeah, it kind of, when my garage got bigger and I got more advanced as a player, this kind of flame kind of became less, I guess, strong. I don't know. It's almost childish, but I do feel hopeful, and I actually feel wishful, and I don't know if I should be happy if I feel this way or not. I'm happy because it feels good to be reminded of how this feels, but at the same time, I probably won't feel this again for a very long time. But let me tell you what happened this morning. I unpacked a car. That was a genuine 10 out of 10. Like, this is a car that was a car not only that I genuinely really want, but a car that was also really useful. It was a car that was really meta. It was just everything. There were zero flaws about it. Even the picture is wonderful. And honestly speaking, this is an occurrence that is so incredibly rare now. But if you follow me on Instagram, you would know what car that is. Comment down below what you think it is if you don't know what it is already. But here it is. I got myself a GTA, an Alpha Giulia GTA. All my life, okay, not all my life, but I guess since the beginning of Amalfi Coast, this was a car that I've wanted so much. And ironically, it came from an immortalized in carbon fiber, which I got from the challenge, which I've not even been recording. I've not recorded a single immortalizing carbon fiber I've opened. I've opened 3 now, all for free. I'm not buying any of those. And that's because usually when I open this pack, the first thing I think about is, oh, it's gonna be disappointment. Like, I'm not gonna be happy about it. Why do I care? I'm just gonna get a Morgan. It's funny because when I unpacked this car, I wasn't even looking at the damn pack. I was just tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it finally, I wasn't even expecting anything good. And like, this was the best number one thing that not only did I want from immortalizing carbon, but just Amalfi Coast in general. Really though, it really reignited a flame of just giddy optimism of, wow, this is what it feels like to genuinely get a car I genuinely seriously want. You know, like, I've gotten a lot of really good cars recently. Like the Vantage was amazing, so good in fact that I maxed it out. I didn't need it for any event, I just maxed it out. But I would say that this was like a 9.5 out of 10, because this is a car that I've been wanting for ages, since the introduction of Great Exhibition. But the sad thing about the Vantage is it kind of just is a very beautiful decorative piece in my garage. It actually isn't that useful anymore, because anything that came after World Expo is basically useless in this game now. Obviously I'm exaggerating, but it seems like every single event is just World Expo and above, World Expo and above. Yeah, I got the Super Blower too, which is really cool, and by any other circumstance I would be maxing this out right now, but because I pulled this from the same level where you win this, because you win the carbon fiber at level 13, then you win this at level 25. And the funny thing is, right, I didn't even use a freaking Morgan for that challenge. You don't need to. It's kind of funny. But I did use like 1 Morgan, but like you actually didn't need to. But the Giulia is just, yeah, I'm currently maxing this out. The handling is done, so I'll finish the handling right here, and as you can see, 3498, and I'll finish the rest of it. It'll be 2.999, something like that. I mean, I'm a Saloon collector. Like, this is like the perfect car. But anyway, it's probably going to take a long time for me to actually get a car of this level ever again. The thing is, you know, Rezvani was never a 10 out of 10. It's a good car, but I never really wanted it. The same thing with the Porsche. I'm a Porsche collector. I love Porsches. I'm really happy with this Polo, and it's a great car and all, but it's not a 10 out of 10. There are very few cars in the game where I unpack that can genuinely just make me feel like it just made my day. Like, just unpacking this car made my day, the entire day. Like, today could not have gone wrong. Like, everything could have gone against my way today, but I wouldn't have cared because I got the Julian today. Like, they're very little cars that can get me feeling this way. So in today's episode, this is something that I used to do in 2017 all the time. Please play along if you want to. But back when I started playing top drives, there was always like this wish list thing. I mean, obviously there's the whole wish list tag, which I don't utilize now. I use the reverse psychology thing. So all my wish list cars are cars that I want the least. But there was this thing that I used to do where I would go to every country and I'd be like, ooh, what is the epic I want the most from this country and that country? What is the American epic I want the most? What's the German epic I want the most, etc., etc., etc. And today I want to share that with you. This is something that's, I don't know, I feel like this is just very nostalgic because this is the type of content that I would make back in 2018. Like, nowadays I do tier lists and rants and statistical videos and obviously the pack openings, but it's been a long time where in gameplay sometimes, but it's been a long time since I've just sat down and just talk about the game. You know, not think about the flaws, not think about the drop rates, just being nostalgic and innocent and naive in some cases. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Today I want to talk about every single epic I want the most from each update. So we're gonna start all the way back to when this was a tag, and I think it goes all the way back to American Dream. Now, I think a lot of people may think that they know what the answer is. It's the Hellcat wide body. But the thing that people don't get is that the epic that I actually wanted the most from this update was always the Charger SRT Hellcat. It was always this. It's just that people always think about the wide boy because it was the last one that I didn't get, you know? Like, I was always getting the Challenger. I was always getting the Charger. I never got the wide body. So all the attention kind of boiled down to this car. And, you know, fair enough, if I never unpacked the wide body, then it would be the epic I want the most, but that's because I didn't have it. But now that I have all of them, the Charger is the one that I want the most. And actually, when an update first came out, when I didn't have all of them, the Charger was the one I wanted the most. Guys, I am a Saloon lover. I freaking love Saloons. And on top of that, I love Chargers. I freaking love them. Yes, every fiber of my being still wished that the Charger was still a two-door coupe as it used to be, but I'm really not that mad that, you know, Dodge decided to make it a Saloon. At least they gave it justice anyway, and it is just a terrific car. But yeah, American Dream, the car I wanted the most was the Hellcat. And then it changed to the wide body after I got like 6 of these. But, you know, from an unbiased standpoint, if I didn't have all of them or if I had all of them, the Charger SRT Hellcat was the car that I wanted the most. I say was because I've already gotten that. So yes, I'm happy that I own that. Now we move on to French Renaissance, and to be completely honest, like, I never really wanted an epic from French Renaissance. I never really wanted anything. Like, this is a very genuine video. So yeah, I know people can argue that, oh, the 4TC is a pretty good car. The Laguna Super Touring, yeah, I mean, they're all really good in game. But the reality is, the cars I want the most, these 10 out of 10 cars, are cars that are useful, but also cars that I love. And yeah, there was nothing from French Renaissance I wanted. So comment down below if there was a French Renaissance car that you wanted, but definitely I didn't care. Moving on to German Renaissance. Now, if you've been with me and my channel for the longest time ever, you would know that my mom used to own a X3 M40i. It was very short-lived. I think my mom only had it for like a year and a half. The pandemic really just destroyed things for my family financially. I have a single mom, so like it's a whole personal thing I don't want to get into. But yeah, if you've been in the channel for a very long time, you would know that my mom had an X3 M40i. And obviously, like, this was the car that I really wanted solely because of that reason. But it actually wasn't the car that I wanted the most. The car that I wanted the most was actually these Yellowbird. I always wanted the Yellowbird. It was one of the few and first, and it still is one of the few cars in top drives where it's given this special name, you know, in quotation marks, the Yellowbird, you know, which genuinely is really cool. It just gives the car so much more character among everything else over here. Like, oh wow, okay, this isn't the best representation because that's actually a pretty cool Volkswagen. Yes, I know, plus I'm calling it the Volkswagen cool, but you know, something boring like a 750 Li, like, oh, whatever, bro. But like, there's so much character in this car. I genuinely really wanted this, and I'm happy that I got it. A little little bummed that, you know, this is a card that everybody can get. I really wish that they ran a tri-series for this. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's a fantastic car. So I would say the Yellowbird or the X3 M40i were the two cars I really wanted the most from this update. And once again, everything I'm saying here, I'm not just making it up for this video. This is all really consistent. If you want to go back to my 2018 videos, you would see me saying the same shit. Moving on to Italian Renaissance. Now, Italian Renaissance was a strange one, kind of like French Renaissance. I didn't really want anything. I remember back in the day, the car I wanted the most was a Gallardo LP550. Not really because I love Gallardos. I like V10s, but I was always more of a Viper guy anyway. I just knew that this was the most, like, back in the day, like in 2018, you know, having a stat line of 3.788 for an Epic was actually like borderline legendary. Like 3.788 was borderline legendary back in the day. Now it's like 3.587 or actually Lamborghinis aren't really the best, you know, perspective of things. But yeah, back in the day, this was like the best because this was a legendary, this was a legendary, this was a legendary, that was a legendary. So yeah, I mean, the Gallardo was the car that I wanted the most, but I'm not going to say that that was the, I don't know, I guess it's the car that I wanted most from the update, but it definitely isn't the same level of, you know, Alpha Giulia GTA or whatever like that. Moving on from the Italian Renaissance, we're going to Great Exhibition, and I think a lot of people knew at the time, the car that I wanted the most was DBS Superleggera. That was a fact. I also really wanted the Vantage, but the Vantage wasn't really the Epic that I wanted the most at the time because it used to be a legend. So if we were really talking about like what was the Epic I really wanted the most at the time of the release of this update, I actually cannot remember. Probably the CC100. But if you were asking me today, right now, what was the Epic or what is the Epic I wanted the most, the answer would have been the Vantage. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy. Like ever since the Vantage moved down from a legend to an Epic, this was definitely by many, many miles the Epic I wanted the most from Great Exhibition. If the question was the Epic I want the most that I don't own, it kind of takes away a little bit of that, you know, genuinity, if that even is a word. Because yeah, the car that I genuinely wanted the most was the Vantage. And I think before the Vantage was a legendary, the answer would have been the CC100. But I definitely like the Vantage more than the CC100. See, unlike Cannonball, I'm not big on the whole concept vibe. I like real cars that, you know, are kind of in quotations mass produced on the road. And yeah, the Vantage definitely is the answer. Moving on now is European Revolution. Now, the European Revolution Epic that I wanted the most, much like French Renaissance, there isn't much of an answer to this. Yeah, there are a lot of useful cars like the 208 T16 and the Dons are very useful. And obviously I would like the Polestar, and if I was held at gunpoint and someone told me what is the Epic that you want the most from this update, then maybe I'll tell you the C30 Polestar. For cars that I don't have, if you are saying everything, then maybe the Don Comfort D8. But the reality is, there really isn't an Epic I genuinely want. Like, I want those two cars because they're useful. Like, that's it. You know, when there's a new update, like I remember when European Revolution came out and I looked at all the Epics, I was just like, yeah, there really isn't anything that I genuinely want. Like, you know, like with like, you know, Pacific Coast Highway, like immediately, you know, Charger, Superstar, blah, blah, blah. But this one is just like, yeah. I'm a very picky person to my core. American Frontier came next, and I think everybody knows the answer to this. The one that I wanted the most was the Charger Juice, but kind of like the wide body situation, the one that I want the most now and the one that I talk about the most now is the Viper SRT10, because before American Pacific Coast Highway, this was the last Dodge that I was missing. It was the only Dodge that I've never unpacked, so obviously I really, really wanted it. And yeah, it was the same case as a wide body. I wanted it the most because it was the last thing that I didn't have. But if you had a blank slate, if I didn't have anything here, or if I had everything here, the Epic that I genuinely wanted the most is the Dodge Charger Juice. Because again, I love Chargers, I love Saloons, I love the Viper V10, and this is everything. It is a Charger, it is a Saloon, and it has a Viper V10. And I love the name. Juiced. It's just amazing. So yeah, this was the car that I wanted the most. I did get that, so I'm very, very happy with that. One of the few updates I would say where the Epic I wanted the most I actually got, you know, pretty close to the update's release, which was really nice. Moving on to JPT, it's the same situation here. I don't really want anything. If I was held at gunpoint, the Cosworth, I guess, because of how useful it is, it's very meta, but there isn't any Epic here that, you know, my heart wants. There are a couple that my brain wants, but not my heart. Moving on to World Expo, the one that I wanted the most. Ooh, this is a very tough one, but I think it would be the butt. To the 911 GT3 Touring, and as you can see, I've never unpacked this before, and I think this is where you start to see the trend, where I don't seem to get the car that I want the most. I know it is kind of a little bit of a needle in the haystack kind of thing, but I've unpacked, 2 of these, 4 of these. There genuinely is there is a divide, but yeah, the butt. I would say the butt, or surprisingly, the Quattro. Any 996 was, the thing is, this update brought a lot of epics that I just genuinely wanted, but I think the butt or the Audi Sport Quattro were one of the 2 cars I wanted. I think the butt wins because the butt, not only is it amazing as a fantastic photo, but it's a very useful car, or at least relatively useful car in the game. The Quattro kind of reminds me of the BMW M2. I love the BMW M2. I have it, and I've had it locked for years now. It's probably my most wanted BMW before Enter the Black Forest. The problem is, it's not a very good epic, so it's been stock in my garage for many, many years. And I think the Quattro kind of falls in that pit, where I do genuinely want it, but I'm probably never gonna max it, you know what I mean? Or at least I'm not gonna max it for many, many years. So with that said, then I think the epic that I want the most is the 911 GT3 Touring 992, also known as the butt. Moving on to, now we go to Enter Black Forest because we're looking at World Expo. So now moving on to Enter the Black Forest. The car that I want the most is the M3 Competition Saloon, which I might have a chance at unpacking of the final packs if I decide to open them. But yeah, this is the one that I want the most. Everybody knows that I love the G80s. I don't really care what anybody says. I think they look amazing. Some of the nicest BMWs ever to exist. I think the kidney grills are very nice. And I mean, to be fair, I am very consistent in my taste because the GTA has a very similar grill. It's just that instead of 2 kidneys, it's 1 kidney almost. I can't make a bit of sense there. But yeah, definitely the G80 Competition Saloon is the one that I want the most by a long shot. And then moving on to Amalfi Coast, we did finally get the car that I wanted the most, which is the Giulia GTA. Once again, by a long shot, this was a car that I genuinely wanted. It's kind of cool, actually. I think I've unpacked almost every single Amalfi Coast epic. I've had this before. I fuse it away. I've had that before. I fuse it away. I had this before. I fuse it away. I had this before. I fuse it away. And then yeah, the rest. So the only one that I've not unpacked would be these 2, the 131 and the Brera Concept, I believe. No, I'm feeling that I've fused this away. Wasn't this a tier 1 prize car or something? Because I think I won it and then I fused it away. But anyway, really, really happy that I finally got the GTA. Like I said, it's a 10 out of 10. It made me so freaking happy. This is such, I gotta say, this is such such a giddy video. Like, this is something that I would have done when I was like 17 or 18. Just like, ooh, I'm looking through all the cars in the game and really looking at, what genuinely is my favorite. Moving on to this update, lock to lock. Again, like French Renaissance, there wasn't really anything I wanted. There were a lot of really useful cars, and at the start of the update, I think the car that I wanted the most was the V6 Cup R, which, to be fair, I've been very blessed in this regard. I have 2 of them already, but it's not a 10 out of 10 one. It's kind of like I really want it because I kind of like the car, but also because it's really useful. It's not like I love the car, I just kind of like it. I think it's cool. But yeah, not a 10 out of 10, but yeah, if I was held at gunpoint, that would be my answer. Obviously, I also really wanted the GT3, but that was solely because it's incredibly useful. That's about it. Now, moving on is Learn the Savannah Way. There wasn't anything I wanted. I wanted the green just because it would help me win the prize card that I genuinely really wanted, which was the Sauber. But yeah, no, there was nothing here that I really wanted. I'm a Saloon fan, and this thing looks pretty cool, but again, it's because it has cool stats, and that's about it. And then we end up with Pacific Coast Highway, and it's pretty obvious. I think you guys probably know what I want the most, and the answer is going to be the SRT Hellcat Red Eye. Without a doubt, this is the car that I want the most. A close second would be the Superstock, because the Superstock has been a car that I've been wishing to be introduced into top drives since it was announced as a car, since Dodge announced it. I remember watching the live stream because it was during the pandemic at the time. And Dodge, I remember they had a live stream where they introduced this, and I believe it was the Durango Hellcat at the same time. And there was the Charger as well. So Yeah, I really wanted this, and I really thought that they were going to introduce this car with American Frontier, because this was released the same year American Frontier dropped. I think American Frontier dropped December 2020. Dodge announced their super stock in October of 2020, I believe. But yeah, I really wanted this. So yeah, I would say the super stock and the SRT Hellcat Red Eye wide body are two cars that I want the most from this update. So I would be not surprised if if it ever happens where I do get one of these Dodges. They have been eluding me for the longest time. I wouldn't be surprised if the blue Hellcat Red Eye is the first of the three that I get, because I want all of them, but not equally. The one that I want the most is the Charger, followed by the Super Stock, and then the Red Eye. So I just have a feeling, because of that, I think I'm gonna get the blue one first. Then I'll get the Super Stock, and then yeah, the Charger's gonna take a while. Maybe what? How long did the wide body take? 2.5 years. Yeah, man, it's gonna be that way. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Like I said, it's a very optimistic, hopeful video. It's something that I used to do all the time when I first started playing the game, kind of just wishing and wishing and wishing. Obviously, the longer that you play the game, the reality kind of hits, where it's kind of like, oh, I'm probably never gonna get the car that I want the most, or something like that, because there's just so many cars in the game now. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Let me know in the comments below, what is the car that you want the most from every single update since American Dream. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night.